Oh, we are live, I think. Oh, we should stop playing with our cube toys.
Hey, I just
Armando, hey, we
I
are
just
live.
fixed fabric.
Hello, everyone. Hello, good morning, good evening, depends on where you are. My name is Kamil Nowinski. I'm Microsoft MVP data platform, working as an architect in Avanade. And with me today is...
Yep, me, Armando Lacerda. I am an independent consultant, and I'm also a Microsoft MVP on the data platform as well. And I've been a Microsoft MCT for a few years. And it's great to be here with you. Let's go talk fabric.
Yeah, great, fantastic. Let's get started. And also with us, we have two fantastic women, Doher and Heidi. They will be monitoring this session for us, with you guys from community, for community. So yeah, say hello to them on the chat. And if you have any questions, so yeah, feel free to ask them during the session as we speak. And maybe they will answer those questions, maybe we'll then during the session, maybe after, we'll see. Yeah, depends on how it goes. Yeah.
Yep. And hey, Heidi. Hey, Doher. And you
Yeah,
guys,
hello.
you're going to be interacting with them online. I will be presenting it here. But like Camille just mentioned, more likely at the end, we're going to take one of those questions, a couple of those questions live here.
Exactly. And today, during this session, we'll be talking about use data factory pipelines in Microsoft Fabric. So this is the one of the module with the from the Microsoft Fabric LAN part. So you can visit this website. The link will be on the chat actually, or maybe already is. So you can visit this, go through all the lessons, and you can learn as well like this way. Yeah, so you can repeat all the things that we are doing today.
Yeah, one of the things we have these sessions up is to help you to prepare for the exam, for the DP600 exam. And one of the ways to prepare is to have hands-on. So take advantage of this resource.
Exactly. And again, as we said, yeah, this is the live and interactive session. So, if you have any questions, just put them in the chat. So we'll try to answer them during the session. Yeah.
And I'm sure Heidi and Doher will answer all your questions there too.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so let's get started. And before we start the actual topic that we want to discuss and present to you all guys today, let's mention a few things about the Fabric Career Hub, which in my opinion is great hub and great place to start if you want to learn about Fabric, if you want to take a look what Fabric can do. And also, if you actually thinking about you maybe become a Fabric analytics engineer, so there's a plenty of information how you can start your journey.
Yeah, there is community there. You can find videos about a lot of people giving testimony on how community is important, and you will be able to connect to community. So, like these sessions, this whole series is all about, right, learning together.
Exactly. So there's community leaders talking about the Fabric, about the career, how you can start, how you can learn, and etc. And also from this place, also you can look at the different kind of roles, yeah, because the Fabric will tell you this later in the few slides later, but you can learn as a different kind of role. So whether you are analytics engineer or you would like to be data analyst or maybe data engineer, data scientist, Fabric is your place. So depends on who you are, what kind of role. Maybe you are, you are working today, or you are planning, or you aspire to work as. This place is to you, and explain you how to start, and which experiences in Fabric is the best place for you to start.
Yep. Yeah. What Camille just said is super important, because like in the past, if you are a data scientist and you want to do machine learning experiments, you go to Azure Machine Learning. If you want to do reports, you do Power BI. So you go to different places in the cloud to do a part of the job. In Fabric, we all go to the same place. We all go to Fabric.
Exactly. And Armando, what do you think about the certification? Do you think those days is important thing, or just like that doesn't matter those days? What do you think?
I think it matters, and matters a lot. And I love the fact that the Microsoft has created a second, not a certification, but a way to assess your knowledge, which are the challenge skills labs, which are great. So your certification will show everybody that you have a broader skill, and the skill challenge labs, they will get you to specific hands-on knowledge certification as well. So more than ever, certification, it's very, very important.
I totally agree. I totally agree. And actually, this is also what we are doing today is part of the whole journey for certification. Yeah. So you can the step number one is to Cloud Skills Challenge. You can visit the link that we're presenting here, that you can complete all the Learn modules. One of the module we are presenting today. So we are on step number 2 right now. Learn Together is the whole series of videos that you can learn together with us, together with community, and to be better prepared for the exam.
Yep, and they have these steps one after the other, but it's more like a dance, right, Kamil? You do 2 steps, you do a step back, you do 2 steps, a step back until you get to the end.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, sometimes it happens like this. Exactly. And yeah, Cloud Skills Challenge is worth to say that you can you can be eligible for 50% of discount for exam. So again, as I mentioned, if you visit the website and if you finish all the modules that you complete, there's 13 of them, so you will be eligible to get the 50% of discount for DP 600.
Yeah, don't pay full price for the exam, right? Microsoft is always doing some sort of a program with exam discounts. So come to this place and see what's the discount of the particular day.
Exactly. And if you finish all those modules and if you watch all the videos that we are presenting or has been presented or will be presenting, and you still you're still not feeling like a fully prepared, you can join this session on May 9 of May, which will be 2 hours session about talking and preparing. What is the exam format? What is the skills measured? Some example question to just make you more comfortable with what is going on during the exam, during the real exam.
Exactly. Okay. Learning together. Don't try by yourself. Learn together.
Yeah, exactly. And the whole agenda, I'm sorry, not the whole, but this is where we are right now. Use data factory pipelines in Microsoft Fabric, but there will be more session, yeah, tomorrow, in 2 days time, and next week, and this is just only the beginning.
Yeah, we have this series with all these topics. We're gonna go all the way through May the 2nd, but for each one of these topics, you can dive deep on each one of them. So this is your starting point.
Absolutely. Okay, so let's get started and describe what we'll be learning today. Yeah. So first thing, we'll be describing what is the pipeline capabilities in Microsoft Fabric. Then we'll use copy data activity in a pipeline to just shows you the simple one of the simple activity that you can use and build in pipeline, which is very commonly used in any pipeline. Yeah, this is all about the copy data from one source, from one of the source to the target. Yeah, and then create pipelines. We can create pipelines using some predefined templates. So Armando shows us, how to use those and why we've got them. Yeah, and what is the monitoring, how to monitoring pipelines, how to run them, and etc. How to see where we are, if there's in progress or either finished complete successfully or canceled, and etc. So the tool that actually can shows you all those things.
Yep, and so a lot of important topics in there. Kamil, would you say that this section goes into data engineering side of things in Fabric?
Oh yes, definitely, definitely. We'll be talking about. Let's stay maybe on this slide a little bit longer, because yeah, we'll be building some data pipelines. Yeah, so and I will back to your question in a minute, Armando. So let's go through this. So actually, what is the Microsoft Fabric, Armando? What is the Microsoft Fabric in your words? Let's say, if you would like to just someone just heard about Microsoft Fabric and just wondering, okay, what is that? What I can have there?
Yep. When my friends ask me, what is this fabric thing that Microsoft came up with last November? What I usually tell people is it's a unique place. It's the place to go if you want to handle data at any scale in a cloud, in Microsoft clouds. Instead of going to multiple places, trying to stitch them together to produce a result, you go to one place already fully integrated where we can achieve results faster.
Exactly, perfect. And from the marketing slide, let's say Microsoft saying this is a unified data platform, and this is true. Why? Because it's first unified architecture, as you can see on this diagram. I will just add few words about this in a minute. And it's unified experience because you have everything in one place, as Armando said, and we have unified governance within the Microsoft purview and unified business model. So we have everything in one SaaS, software as a service product. Yeah, so as you can see on the slide, we have one lake, which is the storage, unified storage as well. You can use Copilot's AI with this the product, but actually what we will focus today will be Data Factory. Data Factory is one of the, and probably the first experience in Microsoft Fabric that you can build something. You can build pipelines, for example. Yeah, there's more. Yeah, there's Synapse data engineering, Synapse data science, Synapse data warehousing, real-time analytics. You can build those real-time pipelines or ingesting or process and transformation data. And of course, on the right-hand side of each architecture of data platform, you have Power BI. Yeah, so reporting. Yeah, the visualizations that the customers love. Yeah, and also don't forget about the data activator. But we today will be focusing on the data factory. So Armando, answering your question, yeah, data factory will be building everything like for ingesting the data, transforming the data. Maybe not many transformation today, but this is actually data engineering. Yeah, this is actually data engineering part.
Exactly. Yeah. People ask me, the data factory thing is on the data engineering side, and if we consider data engineering doing the transformations, so data factory is not much into data engineering, right? It's more into, like you said, Kamil, data ingestion, bringing data into Fabric, and orchestration, right? What to do in order to achieve something.
Yeah. We'll mention this and describe this the whole process a bit more detailed in the next minutes. So how to get started with Data Factory? So of course, Armando shows this during the demo, but let's see a few slides before we dig deeper. So first, if you open Microsoft Fabric, you will see that kind of page when you will be able to choose, one of the experiences or personas. Yeah, so in our case, it will be Data Factory. And if we click Data Factory, then we can create new objects, like we can create data flow Gen 2 or data pipeline. We will not be focusing on the data flow Gen 2 today, but we'll show you data pipelines, which is the first thing when you're building any actually orchestration or ingestion and etc. And we'll explain this a little bit more during the demo actually. Yeah, so the data pipelines define the sequence of activities. Yeah, it's like it's a wrap up of the activities. You can put them in appropriate order. You can put the dependencies, and that is the orchestration. Yeah, so that's the orchestration, and you can orchestrate an overall process using those activities, and usually it's by extracting data from, as I said, one or more sources and loading those data into the destination. So very often we are also transforming the data from end to end. And the pipelines are commonly used to automate the extract, transform, load, ETL. You probably heard about this this word or this phrase, yeah? ETL or ELT, extract, load, transform. So this is a process that ingests the transaction-led data from very often operational data stores into analytical data stores. In our case, it will be one lake, yeah, or one lake, lake house, or data warehouse. So all those things. So we have all the things in one place, which is great, yeah. So also one of the things is, if you are already familiar with Azure Data Factory, then data pipelines in Microsoft Fabric, there won't be any new things for you, yeah. Then for sure you will be familiar with that. They use the same architecture of connected activities to define a process that can include multiple kinds of data processing tasks and control flow logic.
I think the two keywords there are activities and sequence, right? This will, if we start from there, everything will make sense when we go into the demos and start working with the things. Look for the activities, look for the sequences.
Exactly. Now, if we want to understand the pipelines, let's have a look like how it looks like. Yeah, this is very simple. Pipeline, and as I said, we have activities. Yeah, then those activities actually perform data movement and processing tasks. Yeah, so you can use pipeline to define the data transfer and transformation activities, and actually orchestrate everything end to end. Yeah, through this control flow. You can manage branching, looping, and other typical processing logic. Yeah, from the graphical perspective, it looks like this. You can add the activities, you can define the dependencies between them, and you can decide if you want to run them one by one in sequence, like in this screenshot, or if you want to run, for example, two tasks in parallel, then wait until both finish and then run another one. Yeah, maybe after that another run some other three in parallel activities or tasks. Yeah, it's all up to you. You can decide how your process looks like, how you can build this process, how you want to optimize them to be performant and quick. Yeah, that's the thing.
Hey Kamil, we got a great question that came through the pipe to us. The question is Data Factory for ETL and ELT?
Very good question. Yeah, so ETL is actually extract, transform, load that comes from the older kind of architecture when we are extracting, transforming, and load. Here, actually, we are doing this in a little bit or different order. So it's extract, load, and transform. Yeah. So because those days in the modern kind of data platform, we can load data, collect them in the kind of row or landing layer, and then we can do the other things. Yeah, so it's all about the order. So actually you are defining those order, so actually you can do the both. Do you agree, Armando?
I do, 100%. And in Fabric you can do either one, but the pipeline doesn't do that, right? Pipeline orchestrate there, and we can move data in, but if we're gonna do data transformation, we're gonna do data engineering down the road, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so let's take a look what we have. What is the core pipeline concept? Yeah, so once we're building the pipelines, we already go through the activities a little bit, and then each pipelines has also parameters, and we can run those pipelines, and which is called pipeline run or pipeline runs. Yeah. So let's have a look. Like if we are creating a pipeline, so what we can do? Yeah, we can definitely parameterize those pipelines. So we can build kind of more generic pipeline, and with these parameters we can define. So for example, okay, let's copy the table. Let's copy the data of the table, and with the input parameter we can provide the information. Okay, what is the source of the data that we want to copy? Yeah, so in that way not like with with, if you remember, some of you maybe remember SSIS, yeah, it was very tricky to build kind of generic processes, because with SSIS, SQL Server Integration Service, you had to define the schema upfront. Here, this is not mandatory, yeah. So we can build generic pipeline and provide some input parameters. But it's not only about building the generic pipelines. In general, parameters is very useful things, because you can use them in many different ways. So this is like how you can create a pipeline, provide the parameters, and then what kind of transformations do we have? Yeah. So
those activities, right?
Say this again.
I mean, there's those activities, right?
Yes, those activities. What I said.
No, yes, you're good. You're good.
Yeah, okay, cool. So yeah, activities. We have different bunch of activities available in Fabric. So one of the example is copy data. The other example is data flow. You can actually do kind of some transformations. You can run also some store procedures if you like. Yeah. Also, you can run notebooks, and notebooks give you a bunch of possibilities actually here. So those are transformations. So Armando, we have also something else here. Yeah, we have, okay, let me click. Oh yeah, now.
Yeah, we have control flow activities, which are our way to implement some sort of logic and looping logic into those activities, so we can aggregate them and decide which one to go and how many of them we want to go in parallel.
Exactly. And again, I mentioned a little bit about the parameters. So parameters you can define for a pipeline. You can define the parameters, and actually during a pipeline runs, you cannot change those parameters. But there is something that you can change during the pipeline run, which is the variables. So variables is very similar thing, but the variables you can define inside of the pipeline, can be passed from outside from the other pipeline, or when you're running pipeline. But it's up to you how you use the variables, and when you set those values for those variables. Did I forget about anything, Armando?
I think we covered most of it. Yep, I think we're good.
Okay, cool. So runs. So each time a pipeline is executed, a data pipeline run is initiated. So run can be initiated on demand in the Fabric user interface, or can be scheduled actually to start with a specific frequency. And actually each pipeline runs has its own pipeline runs ID. So this is the way how you can monitoring what is going on, and how you can identify uniquely and globally what is the run actually, and then check those things later if you want.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. So when using copy data activity, what is that? Let's have a look on this. So copy data activity is, as I mentioned this already, so one of the most common uses activity in the data pipeline. Why is that? Because with the pipeline, with the data factory, our first goal is to collect the data, copy the data from the sources, from the data sources, whether it's like some other lakehouse, maybe there's some storage, maybe there's a storage in a form of SQL Server database, maybe other relational database, maybe from Cosmos DB. There's a plenty of connectors, over more than, I don't know, remember, but I'm sure that there's over 100 those days.
That's a lot. That's a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, more than last time when I remember, it was like more than 120. Today is definitely more. So yeah, actually, whatever kind of source system you are thinking about, there's like very huge chance that the connector is already in Fabric. Yeah, so you can connect to the data source and copy the data that you are looking for. Yeah, so that's what the copy data activity does for us. Okay.
Yep.
Cool. So use the copy activity. We will show this during the demo actually, so I don't want to just spend time where to click, because Armando will show us that in a minute. This is where we are adding the pipeline activity. And yeah, I think let's switch to the demo now actually. Yeah.
Let's take a look how that works. All right, so here we are. This is the homepage for Microsoft Fabric. You get to this page here by going to fabric.microsoft.com. You're going to authenticate. If it's the first time you get there, there'll be a process to sign up for the service. But once you're there, like I am. So let me get my mouse here and get this a little bit bigger, so make sure everybody can follow along. Hope this one is big enough. And like you said, right, Kamil, the session today is about Data Factory. So I could come and click on this tile here. And I think one important thing for everybody to grasp in here is if I click in any of these tiles, or if I come down here on the bottom left and choose a particular experience of Microsoft Fabric, we are not reducing Fabric, right? We are not capping things out of Fabric. Fabric's still the same with all of its capacity. What we're doing here is focusing the user interface to a particular job role, like Kamil mentioned, right? If I'm a data orchestrator guy, here's where I go. If I'm a data engineer, I would go to another place. Then I will see different tiles around here. So this thing is not to choose which product to use. This thing is just to choose what kind of an interface, what will be on the homepage there for you. But everything is always available for you when you log into Fabric. And in order to work with Fabric, I get something here. Let me clean up this thing first so we don't get confused. But when we go into Fabric, everything in Fabric must be in a workspace. If you're creating a pipeline, if you're creating a notebook, whatever you're creating in a Lakehouse, everything must be in a workspace. So I'm going to go ahead and create a new workspace here for this demo. And I'm going to call this one here, Learn Together Demo Workspace. And very important, I'm going to say that this workspace here is going to be backed by a Microsoft Fabric capacity, right? In order to use Fabric, you got to make sure that there is a Fabric capacity backing this up, and especially if it's something that is going production. If you want to try it out, there is an option here for trial. We've been talking about this throughout the series. You can take a look at more details in the previous sessions. But let's save time here and go straight into a new workspace with Fabric capacity backing it up. And I'm going to go back here to home, since now I have my workspace, and I'm going to go and create a data pipeline. Remember, you can have these things in a lot of places in Fabric. You can do the same activity in Fabric in multiple places. So just choose the one you feel more comfortable doing. And in here, I'm going to do like a demo workspace. Oh, actually, demo pipeline. Go ahead and create that one in there. And this is where we are. We're going to see the interface that Kamil just mentioned, that just showed last in the slide deck. And as you can see, the interface has changed. It was all green. Now it's getting more ripe, right? Not everything is green here anymore. But the copy assistant that Kamil mentioned is this one here. As Kamil mentioned, we do have these things called activities. See over here? We got activities in here. And there, if you want to choose which activity to do, there are some of them down here. The one that are most common to use, they show up down here. But if you want to take a look at the full collection of them, you'll see them over here. If you're coming from Azure Data Fabric, this thing was on the left side in the like in the blade in the in vertical format. Here is in the horizontal format. So you got to change things around, right? Makes the things more enticing. So, and one of the things to keep in mind is when you're doing data pipeline, you are not doing data transformations like we mentioned. We can be orchestrating how the data transformations will happen. But in the data pipeline, if you're moving data, you are moving data. You're not transforming data. So this copy activity is not designed to transform data. It is designed to move data from point to point, right? Whatever place you want, from whatever place you want to get it at. Usually you bring into a Fabric, but it can be any place that you have access to. So yeah, we're gonna go in here. Let me double check here my notes. We're gonna go over here and we're gonna choose a data source for us to work with. And in this particular case, I'm gonna go into the copy data, choose data source. Oh yeah. Here I have a summary of some of the sample data I can bring with, and here are the connectors that Kamil mentioned before. Some of them that from all the things we can use from. And here we have them, the same ones organized by categories. So if I go here into the generic protocol, one of the common ones we have is HTTP. So if you have any REST API out there that's going to give you data through an HTTP call, usually you would go here, either here, REST API, or over here. So let's go to HTTP. And they do have a sample data for us to work with that you will find in the lab guide that Kamil gave you the link earlier, right? And the QR code, we can give that later to you as well. And I'm going to say here, I'm going to create a new connection, and I'm going to create that connection to that HTTP endpoint, this guy here. It realized that I have done this before. Say, hey, you have made that connection before. You want to connect to this guy here? Say, yeah, I'm going to do that one. I'm going to move over.
And Armando, I think it's also worth to mention here that, like why we are doing this, why we are getting this, and why we are using this HTTP connector. Yeah, it's just to simplify the whole demonstration. Yeah, because in the real world scenario, probably in most of the cases, you will be reading the data from some SQL database or maybe from some other storage location. And if you are going and reading this from the storage location, it might be CSV as well. So the difference is here that instead of reading this from the storage, that we would have to, check the permission and the other stuff. Yeah, this is the publicly available HTTP public URL address that we can get the data from. Yeah, so that's why we are using this to just simplify. And behind the scenes on this public URL is just simple CSV file, text file. Yeah.
Yeah, the very end is just a CSV file. Yeah, and as we move along the wizard, and I think this is a great point, right, Kamil? This is a wizard that will help you out set up the whole thing, so you don't have to do by code. One of the things about software software as a service, satisfying the data engineering part of cloud processing data, is that we try to Microsoft help us out avoiding us typing much code, right? So this is a great thing. In here, if I had relative URL based on the base URL I gave in the previous one, I would give it here. I don't have any extra information because I just point to the file. So it's a get operation on that file. We're good to go. And it's a CSV file, so all these settings should be okay for that CSV file. The wizard, Fabric, went ahead and looked into the source I pointed out and checked the file to see if this would work. So if I click here on preview, I can see that I can read the data. So it's good to bring it up. There is no compression type, it's plain text in there. And now, where do I want to save this data? Like you mentioned, we can save to multiple places, right? I can get this data be ingested or copied over to a bunch of locations. In our case here, I want to get this one in my own workspace. So I'm going to click here on the workspace. I want to bring it to my workspace. And when saving to a workspace, I need to give it to a particular storage place inside my workspace, which could be a warehouse, a KQL database, the Data Explorer database, or a lakehouse. I have already created a lakehouse, so I'm going to go with the lakehouse in here. It could be any of it already there. Actually, I just created this one. It's new. Create a new one. Just create this workspace, right? The workspace is empty. So this is going to be demo targets. Let's call it the demo target lakehouse. And in there we go. We got I'm bringing a file, so I'm not going to save it to a table because a lakehouse can have a table created on top of files already there. But this is a straight CSV file, so I'm going to opt it to save it as a file. And I'm going to browse my my lakehouse that I just created, so there are no folders in there. It's empty, so it will go straight to the root folder. And I'm going to call this guy here sales.csv when it lands, right? Just put in there. and no extra behavior on the copy activity. So when write as reading, we good. That's the summary of it. We save and run, and off it goes. To just summarize it, right? This wizard process of using the copy activity, we have the activity here that is copying data from the source to the destination. Here are all the parameters that I gave to the copy activity following the wizard. And if I click here on the canvas, I can see that it's running like I requested to run, and my data is there. If I go to the workspace, we'll see what is my
Armando, wait, if you could click on the workspaces again.
If I go here to my workspace,
workspaces on the left,
and go into the lake house that I just created. Here's my file that landed on my folder, right? And that's the first demo.
Yeah, Armando, if we have two questions. If you could show the workspace, name of the workspace. I don't know why
the name of the workspace is right here. Learn Together Demo. That's the name of my workspace. And if I click here on workspace, it would all show up over here.
Exactly. So this is the place where we are working on right now. Yeah. The other question is is there a Dynamics 365/Dataverse connector? So maybe if you open the wizard again, so we'll see if there's a connector, because I don't remember, to be honest with you.
I don't remember either. I know that there is a connector for Dataverse where we save a lot of data there. But for Dynamics, if I go here into data pipeline, I'm going to create, and we look here into the options that are in here. Workspace, Azure Database, File, Generic Protocol, NoSQL, Service and Apps, Dynamics right there.
Yeah, and Dataverse on the left.
I work a lot with Dataverse. Dynamics, I have never done a project with Dynamics, but it's an option there. There we go.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Armando. Great. So that was the first demo. Now let's go through the slides. Let's go back to slides again. So we were showing the copy data activity. You mentioned, Armando, that already, that for copy data activity, we are using just to copy data, not when we want to do some transformation and etc. Because for that kind of things, we should use some other techniques like activity, which is data flow, Gen 2, or maybe notebook, if you want to transform data in a more kind of flexible way and with more code, let's say. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So that the copy data activity is just purely for copy. Yeah. You can do some small things, but not too much. Yeah. So now, when it comes to the pipeline templates, so Microsoft defines something for us. So Microsoft predefines some kind of pipelines for us that there's a combination of some activities and predefined patterns, let's say. So instead of building something from scratch every single time, you can choose one of the pipeline templates and just configure some configurable parameters to just adjust this to your needs. So let me give you an example. One of the example can be, when you are building the incremental ingestion process, that you every single time when you run the pipeline, it will just get the latest data, the incremental data from your source. So to achieve that, you can actually you have to, after the ingestion, after the copy data, you need to save some information, maybe some watermark, let's say, maybe the maximum ID from the primary key that you read last time. So you need to save this somewhere in the, let's say, control table, based on some table name or something like this. And next time, before you start reading data, you need to read this latest watermark and read everything what is greater of this value, let's say, if that's the ID or maybe date time. So this is one of the example. The other example I remember is, for example, when you are building some SCD type 2 maybe, or another SCD. SCD is slowly SCD is slowly change. Oh Jesus!
Dimension.
Yes, thank you. Slowly changing dimension. Type 2 or type 1. So if you build something like that, or if you heard about this, or you saw that somewhere, you know that this is not simple thing to build. And even having many of years of experience building different business intelligence platforms or data warehousing, I never remember, and I never would like to build this from scratch, to be honest with you. Yeah, I have my templates, I have some my examples of code when I can reuse them when I need. Yeah, and of course there's some tools and applications that can help you to build that kind of stuff. Yeah, but hey, you can use pipeline templates. Yeah, so that helps you to build those stuffs. Yeah. Okay,
Yep.
so how to create those pipeline templates? Again, I don't want to just focus on the slides here. I think it's better to show you this during the demo, but let's have a look on what kind of pipelines templates we have right now in Microsoft Fabric. There's 13 of them. As I mentioned, something like, copy new files only from copy new files only based on last modified date, or for example the other example is the incremental load, like delta copy from database, yeah, using some watermark. So those kind of activities, you can choose one of those templates, and voila, very quickly you can adapt to your needs. Yeah. So what else? As an input, you can use Lakehouse. You can, as I mentioned, you can define or configuring these pipeline templates and adopt to your needs. Yeah. Did I miss anything, Armando? Would you like to add something or anything to this?
I think you cover pretty much the whole base for this section of the presentation. I think it's a good time to go into show how that works in the computer.
Yeah, exactly. Let's go to the demo.
Cool. Let's take a look. So here we are, same workspace where before, right? Learn together demo. And we have our lake house that we created before, and we have the first pipeline we created before. The pipeline we have just created is a pretty simple pipeline. We started from scratch, and we just set up the copy data activity. Like you mentioned, Kamil, we have the activities over here, the basic ones over here, and the collection of them down here as well. And if you click in here, we see a lot of other more options we have for activities, everything we can orchestrate using the pipelines, right? Use the pipelines in Fabric. But if we, like I said, if we don't want to start from scratch, I can, come to my workspace and say, you know what, I want to create a new pipeline. Notice that I'm using a different sequence of clicks in here, right, to show the pipeline, how to create a pipeline. Like I said, there are multiple ways of doing the same thing. And this one here is going to be like a demo from templates, right? I want to get a template there for me, and I'm just going to customize my template as I need. So I'm going to go, well, demo from template 2. You didn't like the first one. Let's do a second one. So it's creating it. So it's empty here, and there we go, right? I have a tile here for templates. So I'm going to choose from templates. And if I go like follow your lead, Kamil, here it is, right? Delta copy from database. I can go ahead and click on this one here, say next. And what it's going to ask me here is a collection of parameters. Like I said, right? We find the template, we just customize that template with the collection of parameters we want to have it using to do the data transformation. So in this case here, let's say I want to bring from one of the databases that I have in my end here, and I want a delta copy from that same database, and I'm going to dump that thing in someplace else.
And Armando, at the beginning, it might look scary, yeah? If you have like 3 parameters you need to provide. Depends on the template. It might be more, actually, yeah? Depends on what is going under. It might be more. So at the beginning, it might look scary, but you need to actually think about what this template does, yeah? What is going on, what it will be doing, yeah? If you understand this, So you will be better prepared for what kind of connection you need to configure, or maybe the other parameters you should configure. And remember, every single time later you can change it, even if you just select this in the wrong way. Just play with it, try test it, and see what you get at the end of this wizard.
Exactly. So check what kind of template you're using, what particular process you want to accomplish. So you're going to choose the specific one for the process. In this case here, CDC. And this is the final result of the template, right? We get a bunch of activities already set up here for us with the parameters we have specified. And this thing is pretty much set to go. And then I can come and customize it the way I want, right? So that's a demo. So the templates can save time when creating these things. On the other hand, if we are doing the way we were doing before, right? If you're starting from scratch, my pipeline here has already ingested the data. So let's say I want to do something with that data. I want to do a data transformation like it was asked before, right? Can I do ETL? Well, in the data pipeline, not in Mid, right? But I can go and create a notebook in my workspace and do some ETL in my notebook. So I'm going to go here into my workspace again. I'm going to go ahead and create a notebook. And I'm going to call my notebook. It's going to come up. That is my notebook. The name of my notebook by default is notebook 1. So I'm going to change this one here to ETL just to follow the patterns, right? We are seeing here. And in there we do have a source code sample in our labels in there. I'm going to add in here. The first one we're going to do in here is an interesting cell. If you're familiar with Spark notebooks, you know that this is this is a regular cell assigning a value to a variable. But I can come in here and say, you know what? Like we saw in the templates just a minute ago, I want to toggle this as a parameter. So my data pipeline will be able to tell the notebook where we want to save those things, right? Where when whatever parameter it is, for a folder, for a file name, whatever you need to use that parameter for. So now this is a parameter that the notebook will accept from the data pipeline, and I will set that parameter in the pipeline in a second. The second code in here, and again, you can see this code with on your own time, without much of a rush, because it's there on that link on the labs that it's available for you. Oops, that's a bad click. And what this thing does is here's some transformation going on, right? We got the customer name coming in with the last name, so there is some concatenation going on. I'm actually split, creating new columns in there, the first name column, and a few other transformations going on in there. And when saving it to the destination, it's saving it in the Delta format and doing kind of accumulative writing. So new data comes in, you accumulate the data that's coming in every time you run this thing. So this would be like my ETL, and I'm ready to run this thing. I'm good to go if I want to try this out. If I just run it, it should be
Armando, so
yes.
before we run this code, so let maybe explain our audience, like maybe line by line. We have few minutes time, yeah, to just explain what we are going on. Maybe some of the people that are looking at this video are not familiar with PySpark, yeah. So let's maybe explain a little bit, what we are going on, what is going on here, yeah. The first line, this import, what is that? Why we are doing this?
Right. So this one is written in Python, right?
Yeah.
It's the language we are working with, and Python to work in a Spark cluster. So people call it the PySpark. So the whole code is written in PySpark. And in Python, when you have libraries with code that you want to use in your own code, you import those libraries. So line number 1 is just telling PySpark, hey, there are some SQL operations that I want to support. These operations are implemented as functions because of the Python language, how it likes to do it. And those are the functions, right? We can see there, applying. I mean, this is for the data frame, but we have these other ones here that are writing over there. So that is line number 1. Line number 2 is reading the file we want to read. So the file, I actually already moved the file to this folder here. I forgot to create this folder before. So it's reading all the CSV files that are there. So it's kind of assuming that all CSV files in that folder have the same collection of columns. So this code would fail if not.
And it should be actually, it should be like that, yeah. If we are storing the data in the kind of row layer or bronze layer in the medallion architecture nomenclature, we should have all the same kind of file format or file extensions, if you like, yeah, in a given location, right?
Yes, exactly. The next sequence in here, it's creating new columns, right? Getting the data that's coming in and working with those columns in there with column 1 customer name, splitting the column 1 wherever it sees a space and get the first split. And that is going to be my customer name. And this one here does the same thing. And we'll get the second part, and which would be the last name. So it's split like a full name into 2 columns in there. Same thing for the year over here.
And so we are doing some transformations here, yeah. So
exactly
within the pipeline, we just collect the data, ingest the data. But here we are doing some transformation here.
Yeah, but this is not in the pipeline. This is the notebook.
Exactly, exactly. That's a good point. Yeah, exactly.
Right, and then we have a data frame with the columns you want to keep. Right, this is all the columns you want to keep from the original data frame, from the original data we read over here. And then we write to one lake, to our particular lake house. Which, by the way, if I run this code here right now, Kamil, it will fail because this notebook here is in my workspace, but it doesn't know which lake house to work with because my workspace can have multiple lake houses. This one is just write to a lake house, but which lake house? So this is going to take a little. The code will fail because it doesn't know which lake house to write to. So I'm going to go over here and set up, for this particular notebook, I'm going to set up an environment with a lake house, with an existing lake house, and that's my demo target. This guy here. I'm going to add this one, and it's going to reset the cluster, so the cluster gets the parameters where to write the data. Where to look at the data. So here's my lake house, and I can see the files and folders. By the way, this thing is case sensitive for people who are following along with us. So this F is uppercase. If you put lowercase, it will fail. And if I run this notebook now that the context of the notebook knows which lake house to work with, this relative URL here about where to find the file will work because it knows it's supposed to be on this particular lake house. So now I have my my workbook, actually my notebook, good to go, right? It's run, it's still processing, and this may take a little while depending, how busy my things are there in my capacity. So this may take a little while. I'm gonna leave it here, and we'll come back to see this result later. I'm gonna go over here back to the canvas of my pipeline, and I'm gonna tell here my pipeline that I want to run a notebook from here. So I'm going to go here into activities. I find here notebook. I'm going to not drag and drop. I'm going to click on the notebook to get the notebook in here and say, you know what? After you copy data over, I want you to run my notebook. And as you can see, there are options in here. This one is like, regardless if it fails or not, I want you to run this, right? It's on completion is what they call it, the blue one. So in this case here, let's do if it succeeds, right? If I'm able to copy the data over, so I have new data to copy over to the destination. So that's where I'm gonna save this guy. So this one here is run my ETL. Let's call it ETL on sales. And what I'm gonna do here is say, you know what? I want to look into my workspace. I have a notebook there called ETL, and I want you to run that ETL notebook. So this is the orchestration part of it, right, Kamil?
Yes, exactly. So we can define those dependency, when to run what. So in our case, we are running first. The first activity without any dependency is copy data. Yeah, so this is our extract, right? Right. And then we have the second activity, which will be run only when the first one successfully finish, which is notebook, where we are doing the transformation part of the end-to-end process, right?
right? And if I'm doing this on a scheduled fashion, right? If I run this every day to get the new data coming in, when I run it tomorrow, there will be a file there from the previous day. So I may want to come in here and say, you know what? I want to delete data that is there before I copy data over, right? So I clean up my landing zone, my files on the folder. So let's go there and do some folder cleanup. And here on the folder, I'm going to point to my lakehouse and choose my demo targets and say that in my demo targets, I want to go to that folder where my data is landing, this folder here, new data. And from here, any CSV files that are there, I want it to go away. Gonna make this a wild path, right? Get done.
Yeah, we want to delete everything. What is the CSV
any
extension?
CSV file that's there, I want you to clean it up. So here we go, right? Now I have a pipeline. There was one step only, but now it has 3 steps. And in my orchestration, I'm cleaning up the landing zone. I'm ingesting the data, the new data that I need, and then I am doing the ETL of that data into my target destination that's written in the notebook, which is the folder with the Delta Parquet file. So we're good to go, and I can go ahead. Let's see if the pipeline finished processing. Let's see, is it here? Now this is my template. Where here's my notebook. No, this is the lakehouse. Where's my notebook? Over here, right here. So it finished. It took 21 seconds to process. The whole thing is processing there, which means the notebook is good to go. And I can come here and run my notebook. And by the way, I forgot one thing, Kamil.
Yeah.
This notebook here has a parameter.
Oh, yes. Actually,
right?
we forgot to define this
no,
here.
The parameter is there. I did it there, right here. Table name.
Yeah, but I'm saying we forget to define the value that we would like to run the notebook with. Yeah.
I almost forgot about it, but here it is.
No, but fine. We are safe as long as the notebook will be working only for this one table. Yeah.
There we go. So here is the parameter, and whatever value I want to do here, new data for the folder, I think. And sorry, let's get it to run. New data and run. Save it and run. Well, validation. I got a problem here.
Something.
What did I miss?
Let's double check delete data.
Validation models failed. Fix it before saving. All right, I will. They're all validation on this thing. What am I missing?
Logging settings.
Oh yeah, let's take this off. Thank you.
Yeah.
So this logging settings here, that was failing me here. Where is it? Settings.
I think it was only one problem.
Yeah, so the logging settings are just disabled, kind of a quick. I'm gonna go back there and show that to you. The logging settings there is like when you run, you want to make a log file of the runs of that particular step, and we need a storage account for that. I don't want to spend time doing that thing. So let's not log extra things besides what the notebook already does. So we're gonna pause it here. I mean, I'm gonna let it run. I'm gonna let you, Kamil, finish this slide decks, and then we come back here and see the execution of this pipeline.
Exactly. Thank you very much, Armando. So yeah, we'll go back and see what we run and how we can monitor these things, which is the few slides now about it. Yeah. So when we go to the monitor tool, we can see actually we can see in the run tab of the pipeline, we can see a few buttons. So first button, we can click validate, and I think you partly showed us show us that. So like you can click validate, and you can see, okay, there is something wrong with the pipeline. Take a look on or do some action. So in our case, we had to fix or provide appropriate value, tick or untick, in this case, one of the properties of one of the activity. So this is your option to just validate the whole pipeline, if it looks correct from the validator perspective. Then you can run You can run the pipeline, how like Armando does this manually. You can run the pipeline to test it, for example, or just see like how it performs. Yeah. And then instead of running this manually, also you can schedule, you can configure the schedule for the pipeline. Yeah, so you can specify, how often you would like to run this pipeline. Maybe every day, maybe every 15 minutes, whatever actually you want, whatever you actually need. Yeah, so this is your options. Okay, let's go next thing. And actually the thing, if you run the pipeline, you can see and observe what is going on with the pipeline. Yeah, you can see and observe what is going on with the whole pipeline, and actually you can see and monitoring this across the whole pipeline, looking at each activity, so you can control what is going on. If you like, you can do this manually, or you have all the history of runs later. If, for example, if you wake up in the morning and you would like to check if all the night pipelines or nightly run job are successfully finished. Yeah, so you can check that as well. Of course, all those processes should be automated with some appropriate notifications and alerts and etc. But this is the place where you can do all those things. So you can have actually absolute tool and monitoring control panel where you can check all those things. Yeah.
Yep.
And also, monitoring tool and some specific activities like copy data, for example, can gives you some additional details, not only like how long the whole activity took, but also some additional information like you see on the slide, which can shows you the specific details, like how long the activity were waiting on the queue, how long it took for transferring the data, and how long it will using reading the data from the source, and etc. Yeah, so those are, of course, those specific sub activities are only for some specific activity, but there's a very useful information, because sometimes if you are looking for some performance problems, or you are troubleshooting performance issues, then it's very useful and helpful to find out why it might be like this, why some activities took for example 15 minutes instead of 15 seconds. Yeah, so this can gives you some insight and ideas. Yeah. And monitoring hub is as well giving you a lot of information on the pipeline from the pipeline perspective. So you can view the run history, as I said, for pipeline, to see the details of each run, either from the pipeline canvas or from the pipeline item listed in the page for the workspace. Yeah. So I think let's have a look what is going on with our pipeline runs and how we can monitor those things. Yeah.
Did it work? Did it not work?
Exactly. Yeah. Do we have green or do we have red?
Yeah, you got green. Fabric is green. You gotta have green. Before I go into the details, there is a question in the pipeline that's kind of an interesting one.
Yeah.
It's sort of open-ended, Kamil. It says, is it good to get familiar with OAuth, and do you have resources for that?
So let me start from the end. Yes, we have some resources, and unfortunately, I'm not have those prepared right now, those links, but we can share them. I think in the comments of this video. So this is the first answer I would like to say, and I think this question was, I guess, I'm just guessing, like it was in the context of where you were setting the copy data activity when we were using URL. So I think that was the question in this context, because okay, in this case we didn't use any authentication because the data are publicly available for everyone. So there's anonymous authentication available, so you can get data like that. But there's plenty of information how you can use authentication. If you need, but actually connectors can help you to configure most of the connections without any additional efforts. I would say that all authentication might be useful to be familiar with if you are writing more code, for example, with writing some notebooks and ingesting data like that with a code, yeah, rather than just copy data activities. That's
Yep.
that's my perspective. I think I'm not sure if you
Yep.
agree or disagree, Armando.
100% agree with you. I think my only note in there is OAuth has to do, like Camille mentioned, it has to do with authentication, and authentication has to do with security. And security is that border place where we do the logic for data transformation, and someone has to tell us how to connect to the sources. So it's always a negotiation with whoever is your source. I'm working with the source right now in a project where I have to do OAuth and something else to get the thing to work. So it's always specific to whatever source we're doing. But to the question, Camille, I think it's safe to say yes, you should invest in understanding how OAuth works, and yes, you can find documentation on learn.microsoft.com among other places.
Yeah, it's always good to learn something new. If the security or authentication is something new for you, so it's always good to get out of our comfort zone. Yeah, let's say, and learn something new. Yeah, like we are
Yep,
doing today. Yeah.
perfect. So back in here to my pipeline, right? My demo pipeline. My 3 steps they work flawless. So I'm getting good at this. I did something that didn't fail on the first try. So there they go. And as Camille mentioned, I have the status of them here, like a summary of the run. So this one took 14 seconds to work. This one the same. This one 37 took a little longer. That's my ETL, right? That's working there. And like Camille said, if I go around here, so this one here, clean up the folder, it's just the information in there. If I click here on the output, it is going to tell me what were the parameters that were sent to it and some summary, how long it took to execute. This goes into some billing side of these things, which we don't want to see right now. But when I go to the second one, because as you can see, this was 7:58:10, which is my local time here in the East Coast of the United States. And this one came after, second step, this guy here, right? Copy sales data. When I when I hold my mouse over, I see that this is a link, and this is also a link, which means that if I click in here, I will see more details of that step, like Camille showed us on the slides. So here's a summary. This is the amount of data that came across, and this is what the data that was saved over. So it was a CSV to CSV, no change in volume. If I was saving already to Parquify, it would be compressed, so it would see the size of the compression in there. And here, I got the steps about keying up the process. Took the longer one to get it there, get the data transfer over, and look, it starts writing after a batch came in. So writing and reading was done in parallel for a while. So it's so cool, right? To get some very interesting statistics here about how the data has been copied over. And because this is a copy activity, I don't see much details besides that, right? This is the copy activity that is doing its thing. It's a no-code approach. To the notebook approach, which is a Spark, which is the code we have copied over to the notebook. When I click on this one here, I can see a summary of the notebook execution, 35 seconds to go on this one here. And I can see more, if I want to see more details on how the Spark cluster execute that notebook, I can come here to this link, and it's gonna ask for my credentials, the OAuth thing. And in here, I will be able to see all the steps that were executed to get my notebook to work, and I can see all the function calls and all elements in there. So for the ones that are like, why is my notebook running so slow? I have the detailed specs here of every line of code, that function call that happening there, and off we go from here. I can even go into the Spark history server if I'm more into, if I'm coming from another environment that is actually using Spark, more generic Spark. I want to see the way that Spark shows me, not the way Fabric likes to dress it for me. So I can come in here and see the details from here as well. So there's nothing hidden from you when you're monitoring these things. You can get the high level information, 10,000 feet information summary, or go all the way down to the Spark cluster and the telemetry that was sent by the Spark cluster.
That's perfect. Armando, we have one very good question. Will the pipeline duration vary depending on the capacity? Will it take longer with the trial capacity?
So I'm gonna use my DBA hat, and I'm gonna say it depends. That's the right answer for any kind of question like that. But with all seriousness, if you may have a F64 capacity, and it will not run faster than an F16 capacity if the amount of data that's coming over is not that big. So if it's a combination of data volume, the transformations and the complexity of your transformations, and your compute capacity. Just increasing up your compute capacity doesn't mean that's going to run faster, because sometimes your data source doesn't have partitions. So you're transferring 100 terabytes of data through one pipeline, through one communication channel, one connection link, because there is no partitions on the source. So scaling up your capacity will not make your data movement faster in that particular case. On the other end, like I said, it depends. If you do have partitions in there and you have that amount of data, then increasing your capacity will probably make your data transfer faster.
And also, there might be some other tasks in the queue that you might not be aware. Maybe you forgot, or maybe in the same time you are using different many different pipelines runs. So automatically it's building queue. Yeah. So that's why you can see this queuing. And also, on top of that, even if you have like one quick run, like we showed here, it took, I don't remember, it was like first probably 8 or 10 or 12 seconds in the queue. Yeah. So this is also sometimes small disadvantages if you are working with in the cloud, in the SaaS software. I mean, you don't have full control of what is going on there. Yeah. So sometimes it's it's still under SLA, I would say. Yeah, Microsoft saying that there's SLA for 4 minutes for activity. Yeah, which is taking place very rarely, but still can happen. Yeah, so this few seconds sometimes can happen. In the worst case scenario, might be sometimes 1 minute, maybe not that often, but sometimes it will be like few or few seconds in the queue, but actually it's not that often. Depends on the capacity, but also it depends on how many data you are copying, what you're doing with this data, what is the target, where you are saving the data, if the table already exists, or if you are just appending the data, maybe you're merging the data, and etc., etc. Many different factors can impact this performance.
Yep, exactly. And again, if you are on an environment where this 2 seconds between 12 seconds process and 14 seconds process is a big deal, well, you have to rethink if this particular approach is the right one for you, because usually what we do here takes minutes. So 1 or 2 seconds variation is not a big deal. There was another question there, Kamil, on the pipeline about showing the monitor hub. So I just clicked in here, because this is very interactive, right? We're doing this live.
Yeah, absolutely. You're reading in my mind.
I just clicked here on the monitoring hub, and here I have runs of my pipelines. Some of the pipelines that ran before, and I have the history of those ones. It seems that there is one here that's still running, which I think it's not right. But anyways, this is what the hub is for, right? So we can go into a particular execution there and see the specifics of that particular execution of a particular pipeline. So all the runs together. And that's it for the demo. Let's go back.
Cool. One more thing, Armando, if you could, one more thing, show, because you showed us like clicking on the link of the ETL on sales here, this activity. If you click on that, no, back to the previous one, here in the list below, activity runs, we have ETL on, yes. So now previously you click on the Spark monitoring URL, but also we have this link below, notebook snapshots. Yeah, so let's show what we can see here. This is more friendly kind of environment, when you can see what happens and how long each cells took. Yeah, because this is a snapshot
cell
of this
number 1,
notebook
cell
when it
number
ran.
2,
Yeah,
7 seconds. So that's the time that the Spark cluster was took to be made available and actually run the cell. So both together. And this one here is the time to run this particular code for this. So it seems I have it twice. And this one here, how long it took to run the transformations.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that actually in this cell, the last line of code, the writing data, probably took the most of this time. So because the rest of them is like just operation transformation in memory, yeah. So should be fine, yeah. Or maybe the first,
and if I want to get this breakdown, if you want to get this breakdown, take this line here, put it on its particular cell, and you'll see how long that takes.
Yeah, exactly. So that would be also helpful technique. Sometimes think about it, how to organize the code. Don't put too much in one cell. Yeah. So like from the monitoring troubleshooting perspective, it might be helpful in the future. Yeah.
Great call, Kamil. Thank you for bringing that up.
Cool.
Back to you on the slide.
Let's go back to the slides now. So now it's all what we wanted to show you and present you during this session. Let's actually do the quick quiz, and we have few questions for you. So because we have a small latency with the streaming to YouTube, so let's wait few seconds. But this is the first question.
To answer the question, follow that QR code, right? Get your cell phone.
Yes, you can follow the QR code or just manually put the URL on your browser.
There we go. You have to go there, otherwise you don't see your answer.
Exactly. So yeah, let's wait a few seconds, and actually, yeah, during this time, let me read the question and potential options. Yeah. So what is a data pipeline? A special folder in one lake storage where data can be exported from a lakehouse. B, a sequence of activities to orchestrate a data ingestion or transformation process. Or C, a saved Power Query. That's good question, yeah?
I think I'm gonna let it be letter.
So actually, you didn't show anything about the Power Query. We didn't even mention Power Query during the last 1 hour or more, yeah?
Yep.
So probably C is not the right and correct question, yeah?
Okay, let it be. Let's see what the answer is.
Okay, let's check what is the answer. Yes, the correct answer is B, which is the pipeline. Data pipeline is a sequence of activities to orchestrate data integration, ingestion, or transformation process, yeah? Let's take a look on the question number 2. So you want to use a pipeline to copy data to a folder with a specified name for each run. What should you do? A, create multiple pipelines, one for each folder name. B, use a data flow, Gen 2. Or C, add a parameter to the pipeline and use it to specify the folder name for each run. So if you remember, I mentioned something about building generic pipelines, yeah?
You did. I remember that.
Yeah. So what I mentioned, like what I said, when you're building generic pipelines, what you can use?
You need to create these places where you can save specific values every time you run it.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna answer, right? I'm gonna spoil it for the people there.
I know that you're using this language. Yeah. So let's wait a few seconds and allows people to answer. And then we can actually show the correct answer, yeah?
We see people interacting. I see the votes here. I had 22 votes. That's great.
Oh, fantastic. I like this interaction. I like this.
And there we go. Really, most people said it right. Perfect. Congratulations.
Wow, great stuff, guys. Great, guys. Fantastic. So let's go to the question number 3. Armando, do you want to read this question?
Sure. So the question is, you have previously ran a pipeline containing multiple activities. What is the best way to check how long each individual activity took to complete? Letter A, rerun the pipeline and observe the output, timing each activity. Let's use the clock. Letter B, view the run details in the run history. Or letter C, view the refreshed value for your Lakehouse default dataset. What?
Okay, so
Okay, let me see here. People are voting. People are voting. There we go. Still voting there. Going once, going twice. Our producer Matt is going to reveal it for us.
okay, so what would be the correct answer? It will be, of course, B. View the run details in the run history. Okay.
Like we have demonstrated here, right? So pretty cool.
Exactly. So fantastic. So those were the three questions that we wanted to ask. If you correctly answer all of them, yeah, fantastic. That's great. If you just make a mistake, that's also not a problem. We are learning here, yeah. So we are all making mistakes, So it's good fun of learning. So
It's a learning tool. Yep.
Nothing happened, nothing bad. Okay, so let's summarize what we learned during this session. So we described pipelines capabilities in Microsoft Fabric, and also we used copy data activity in a pipeline. And also, Armando, what we done also as well?
We have done the templates, right? We demonstrated how to get a template, so we get some of the work done for you and then just customize on top of it. We also create a pipeline from scratch, which is the majority of the demos that we have ran. And we have shown our people there who are watching this live or later on the recording how to look back on the previous executions of those pipelines and check, all the telemetry that is gathered when the pipeline runs.
And also, we also modify this pipeline, adding the delete action activity before the copy and after we run some notebooks, and we show the simple transformation within the notebook, and we showed how to connect all those dots together, to building kind of simple end-to-end pipelines, end-to-end solution, Okay, cool. Resources. For more information, there's a resource link, so you can find it in the chat. So take a look on this, and build this on yourself. So you can learn by building, because watching the session like this, it's great. We are very happy that you are here and watching and learning like that. But the best way to learn things is building on your own,
All right. We have answered a few questions that came throughout the presentation. We don't have any question in the pipeline. So I think we're good in terms of questions. I would like to add a brief note here. Apologize that I got a little darker here on my end. My light there just blew up in my face. So I got a little darker here. Apologize for that.
I didn't notice any difference, sir. Armando, so you are good.
Thank you for coming and attending our session live here. Kamil, it's great to interact with you, my friend. And see you next time.
Oh, absolutely. The same from my side. So let's only just mention the last slides, that, where this, what we actually, covered today. It's the Use Data Factory Pipelines module in the Microsoft Learn website. And don't miss another one, which happens tomorrow, at 9 a.m. Australian time zone, which will be about the ingesting data with data flows Gen 2. So, instead of building transformation with notebook, you can use data flow, which is no-code, low-code approach of doing the transformation. Yeah, so don't miss.
Easier way.
Easier way. Depends, I would say.
There we go. The right answer.
I'm old.
This is live on the screen right now. If you want to do the same steps that I demonstrated over the session, this is where you find those steps. Go for it.
Yeah, exactly. And also don't miss the other sessions. So the ingest data will be tomorrow, but there's other sessions. So don't miss them as well. And last thing, you would like to just encourage you to just finish this challenge, Cloud Skills Challenge, to be eligible for 50% exam discount for the exam actually. Yeah. So I'm just wondering if we have any questions. No questions on the chat, right? So I think
yeah, no questions.
Yeah, Armando, so thank you very much for speaking together with you, spending time with you, presenting all those slides, presenting all those demo. Thank you very much. It was live demo and everything went smooth and correctly without any mistake. We even presented, what it means when the pipeline is not validating, which is great. Yeah, fantastic.
It's great. When it failed, it worked.
Exactly. So everyone, have a fantastic day. Armando, for you, have a fantastic evening, I guess. Yeah, based on what I saw on your time zone. Yeah, and see you next time. Bye
See you
bye.
next time.
Take care.
Bye now.
Bye bye.
I'm gonna go back.